ago, I couldn't have imagined spending a Monday like this. Not because something extraordinary is happening today. I'm just working from home, making a mosaic, and having a quiet day. But a year ago, this kind of peace felt impossible, because I was falling apart. I was crying almost every day. I was constantly anxious, close to panic attacks, and I had no idea what I was doing with my life anymore. And the hardest part was that from the outside, everything looked normal. I was still working, I was still answering messages, I was still doing what I had to do. Today I want to share my story because I know how isolated that experience can feel. More importantly, I want to show that it is possible to make it through, and that getting professional help can change everything. What do you think about this angle? I think it works perfectly. So, I finished working, finished my 9 to 5, and I will have my session with psychologist in 1 hour. And before that, I have some time, so I thought while it's still bright outside, I can spend this time on some more pieces. So yeah, I will move on, and I will try to finish this part probably. I think 1 hour is more than enough for this part. And I will move you now so you can see what I'm actually working on. In 2025, a lot of things came together at the same time, but the biggest one was work-related stress. I won't go into all the details, but eventually I reached the point where I understood that I couldn't handle it the way I used to. And quitting wasn't an option. I needed to find a way to keep going without destroying myself in the process. So I went to see a doctor. The doctor didn't hand me a miracle solution. Instead, I was told to reduce stress, see a psychologist, and learn how to cope better. Reduce stress my ass, as if it was that simple. Thankfully, I didn't stop looking for help. My psychologist was the first person who suspected depression. Later, a neurologist ran assessments and confirmed that I had early-stage depression and generalized anxiety disorder. To understand why this happened, I have to go back a few years. In 2022, I left my home country. I started building a life in a new place, working in a language that wasn't my native one, far away from my friends and support system. At work, people kept asking where I saw myself in 5 years. My family wanted to know what my plans were. But I was in a survival mode. My old plans had fallen apart. I was rebuilding everything from scratch, and I barely had enough energy to get through the present, let alone thinking about the future. Year after year, the stress built up while my energy slowly disappeared. Things that once brought me joy stopped affecting me. Concerts felt empty. I couldn't focus on movies. Even music started to irritate me. At the time, I thought I was just exhausted. I didn't realize I was depressed. And I definitely didn't realize that no vacation, no matter how long, was going to fix what was happening inside my head. If any of this sounds familiar, please hear me when I say this. Stop treating yourself like a machine. Maybe you used to be able to do 100% of what was on your plate, and now you can only manage 10%. That feels awful. That feels unproductive. That feels like failure. But if 10% is all you have right now, then 10% is your 100%. That is your capacity today. And instead of pushing yourself for it, you need to learn to respect that. Professional help was finally allowed me to understand that, not just logically, but emotionally. Even in Europe, I met doctors who didn't think that antidepressants were the right choice for me. I found it incredibly frustrating. Eventually, I found a doctor who listened and prescribed medication, and it helped more than I expected. The first thing I noticed was simple. I stopped crying all the time. I didn't become a robot, I didn't lose my personality or stopped feeling things. I was still myself, just more stable. For the first time in a long time, I could look at my life clearly. I could see both the good and the bad without being completely overwhelmed by either. I also found psychologists who helped me realize something important. My depression didn't begin in 2022. It started much earlier. For years, I had been adapting, trying to meet expectations, putting other things before myself. I had stopped choosing me. Therapy helped me break out the endless cycle of work, home, work, home. It helped me start building a life instead of just enduring one. Right now, I'm still in the middle of that process. This channel is part of it. The Mosaic I'm working on is part of it. My dog is part of it. So are the countless ideas, dreams and plans that are slowly coming back to life. I'm not fully there yet. I'm still taking medications, I'm not ready to stop. But for the first time in a very long time, I can see a future where I won't need it forever. And I can see that life is so much bigger, richer and more beautiful than it looked a year ago. So, I did even more than I planned. And what I found out is that it really looks like I'm solving a puzzle. So if you are into puzzles, you're gonna like it. I am into puzzles. I have many in my apartment and I solved many and I actually am pretty fast with them. So maybe me and Mosaic is meant to be. Maybe this is something I should have done earlier, much earlier. Maybe I'm really good at this. Maybe tomorrow I will say that it's all bullshit and I'm really bad at this stuff. And I hate everything I've done. But so far, I'm having fun. It really looks like I'm solving a white puzzle. Have you ever solved a white puzzle? Oh, it actually looks really good now. I think I just solved one puzzle here.